Sukhi hotu. May you be well and happy. A big part of our life is communication, expressing our needs to others and understanding others' needs. Among the species, human beings are supposed to have the most sophisticated communication. Of course, our language is a key part of our communication. Human beings have the most sophisticated language, but we also communicate in other ways, like non-verbal communications, through our gestures, through our facial expressions. But nowadays, we also have digital communication. So the more and more the communication is taking most part of our life. When we think about the problems that we experience in our life, most of them are somehow related to miscommunication or communicating not in the proper way. Sometimes we misunderstand others, sometimes we say things that we were not supposed to say, and then that can develop into other problems and challenges. So if you really think about this, the communication as a very important part of our life, if we do not really understand the value of communication, we are going to risk most of our life. So I would like to pay attention to this skill of communication and try to learn this idea of compassionate communication. Compassionate communications is mainly focusing on the needs of the speaker and the needs of the person who is listening. So we need to pay attention to both the needs of the person who is speaking and also the needs of the listener. I think the key element of compassionate communication is listening. Listening mindfully. Listening mindfully, not only to the speaker, but also to the oneself. First, listening to the needs of the speaker and not very much to the outward expression of the speaker. When people talk, they will use so many ways to express themselves. We pay more attention to the outward expression, but I think we should, in compassionate communication, we should train our mind not to really pay much attention to the words that is coming out from their mouth, but actually the need, the way that the expression originates. So that's a different kind of listening. So listening to the needs of the speaker, not necessarily the outward expression. And the second form of listening is listening to one's own judgments, own stories that we are making in our mind, and particularly judgments. For example, when somebody is speaking, we can think that, that person is blaming me, or that person is criticizing me. The moment you say that he is blaming you, you have already made the judgment for that person. That's your judgment. That person maybe try to express something, but when you say in your mind that this person is blaming me, or maybe criticizing me, or even like this person needs to be the center of attention, or this person has a big mouth, whatever. So those are the judgments that we are doing in our own mind. The moment you make it, the communication becomes so hard. So if we really listen to those judgments that we are making in our own mind, maybe we can suspend our judgment and take a moment to actually listen to this person's concern and what's he really trying to communicate. Sometimes even people say things angrily. The angry expression is actually the expression of an inner need. If we can listen to that, if we can detect that, maybe we can change our communication to a more healthy, profitable communication if we adjust to that need rather than the outward expression. Recently, one of my students made a request from me. He had a presentation to make. So he asked me whether I can help him with his presentation. Though I was busy, I really wanted to help him. So after a few days, I organized make few key points that he can talk about. So I sent him a kind of guide. Maybe this can help you. You can improve your presentation with these points and guidelines that I'm giving. So after 2 days, I got a reply saying that I'm very upset with you. I'm not going to make any such request from you. That's all. So of course, when I received that message, my initial reaction, response, my feeling was that, this is criticizing me, or this is not appreciating what I did for him. He said that I am upset with you, and I'm not going to ask any such request from you. So that was his expression. Those are the words that he wrote to me. But of course, in emails, you don't get the sound. You didn't get the tone. You can put any tone you want to put. But I was listening to my own judgments. I was judging this as a criticism. But then I take a moment, take a breath, and I really wanted to listen to the needs or the real concern of this person. This person is saying that he's upset. He's not going to make any such request from me. He was disappointed. I was able to sense that actually he expected more from me, not simply the simple few points that I sent him. So what he really communicated, what is coming out from his actually, he has more expectations from me. So he expected more from me. So I was able to relate to that he has a greater need than I first understood. So I was able to let go and realize that he expected more from me. So I wrote him a nice email back, not really retaliating to the email he sent me, but I was addressing his need, that his actual concern. I was able to listen to his expectations and then explain that how I did not understood him clearly in the first place. So he is communicating with me. So that is difficult. But listening to people clearly, not necessarily the outward expression, but actual concern and needs can help us to change our communication, to navigate our communication for our own health, our own benefit, but also the benefit of them also. But at the same time, when we communicate, we really have to make a special effort to communicate our ideas really in a proper way. Because it's so difficult, the communication is such a complex process, people may understand things in different ways. We may not be able to make perfect communication, but we can try. So there are guidelines given by the Buddha. In one of his discourses, he said that there are 5 characteristics of a well-made statement. Well-made statement, 5 characteristics. Number 1, that the statement has to be true or truthful. And number 2, the statement should be spoken kindly. The tone of the statement has to be kind. That is an important point, because people listen to the tone more than the contents. So it has to be truthful, the content has to be truthful, but at the same time the way we say it, the way we present it has to be kind and pleasant. And the third characteristic is that our statement should be beneficial to the person. Sometimes maybe something can be true, but it may not be beneficial to the person. If that is the case, why we need to say it if it's not benefiting the person? Something happens somewhere, but if it is not benefiting to the person, maybe it's not necessary to start a conversation about that. So beneficial. The fourth characteristic is that our communication, our expression, our statement should come from a place of kindness. It should come from goodwill. That that I'm I'm telling this to help the person. So sometimes the statement can be true, but it may not come from a place of goodwill. When you really ask, why I want to talk about this? Is it really? Am I really going to help this person, or am I going to like prove my point? So we can ask that question. The last characteristic is that the statement should be spoken at the right time. Sometimes the statement can be beneficial, can be true, can be come from a real compassionate heart, but if we say it in a wrong time, the time that person is not ready to listen, that our communication is going to be not successful in our relationship and going to be difficult. So the speaking at the right time. Sometimes, although we just feel like telling it, we have to ask, is it the right time to tell this? So if you follow these 5 guidelines, I think we should be able to communicate really well. So one thing we need to remember, the communication is a complex process, and it's a skill that we have to learn gradually. Although we may not make perfect communication all the time, but we can try. We can try to follow these guidelines, and gradually we can evolve, we can develop this skill. The more skillful we are in our communication, the more healthy our relationship, more strong our relationships are going to be, and the more easier our life is going to be. We will have less problems and difficulties in our lives. So I hope that we will grow in our communication. Thank you.